Banaza was an Isekai hero who got thrown out like trash for actually being a weakling. However, when he accidentally discovers that his true powers were just hidden, he transforms into a certified Riz god, making the kingdom's hottest baddies throw themselves at him. It all started one day when Banaza got sucked into some weird magic and was transported to another world. There, he was greeted by the High Priest, who welcomes him as the amazing hero who will defeat the Demon Lord. However, when a furry maid brought a magic crystal to check his abilities, she screamed in shock because Banaza's stats were basically normal human level. Just then, right beside him, another summoned hero appears, a blonde-haired schmuck with absurdly high stats and everything, and everyone immediately crowds around him like ants finding sugar. King Clyrode quickly claims the blonde guy as the real hero and ignores Banaza completely. When Banaza asks to go home, the king says the portal has already closed. So as compensation, he gives Banaza some gold and tells him to live freely in the northern forest. 20 days later, Banaza arrives at the forest, and before leaving, the driver warns him that the forest is cursed by the Demon Lord, and a demon army is hiding inside. After the driver leaves, he checks the bag of supplies from the king, pulls out the sword, and right on cue, 3 slimes attack him. With some struggle, Banaza slays them, but the sword breaks instantly. Then, an information assistant appears, saying that his level increases to 2, increasing his stats from low to infinite. Banaza has no clue what that means, but then he is informed by the assistant that he has unlocked a massive addition of magic skills, including an assistant skill, which informs him that the bag from the king has been cursed. There, Banaza realizes the king clearly sends him there to be hunted, but one of his skills helps him disperse the curse from his bag, giving him a chance to live a bit longer. Then he enters the forest, and the assistant warns that the whole area is contaminated by a demon aura and needs purification. Banaza agrees, and in 1 second, the entire Delavesa Woods is purified. As a result, his level shoots all the way to 367. Back at the castle, Princess Elizabeth argues with her father, calling him heartless for abandoning Banaza in the cursed forest. Then a priest rushes in, reporting that a massive holy purification spell has just been detected, and King Clyrode assumes it comes from the blonde hero, but the priest informs him that the blonde hero is nowhere near the holy spell. Since the forest is now safe, Banaza remembers that the king doesn't want him near the city, so he uses a transformation spell. First, he tries turning into a woman, and is honestly tempted to crack himself, but he remembers that he doesn't want this video to get demonetized, so he turns into a handsome Eichmann instead. Then, the assistant teleports him to the nearest city, and Banaza briefly tries teleporting back to his original world, but it fails. So he accepts his fate and decides to find work. At the Adventurers Guild, he registers under a fake name so the king won't recognize him, and he chooses Fleo. Then he notices a girl asking for an escort to the Delavesa Woods, and no one accepts because everyone knows how dangerous that place is, but being a smooth-brained bozo, Fleo accepts and says that he can teleport them there instantly. The whole guild thinks he's a fraud, and that's when a night baddie named Balarosa shoves a sword in his face and accuses him of being a scammer or a human trafficker. Then the rest of her group arrives: Belano the Witch, Beelery the Archer, and Blossom the Fighter. To clear his name from being dubbed the next Diddy, Fleo invites them to come along. They take him into an alley, and Fleo teleports everyone directly to the Delavesa Woods, stunning the team of baddies. Belano asks if he's a high priest, and Balarosa drops to her knees and apologizes. Meanwhile, the wolf girl is disturbed that the forest is no longer cursed, and Fleo wants to tell the truth. Suddenly, Balarosa points her sword at the girl and reveals that she's actually a demon who disguises herself to lure hunters into the cursed forest. Exposed, the girl drops the act, her face twisting into a creepy smile, and transforms into her true form, a demon wolf named Fenris, who is one of the 4 generals of the Demon Lord. Her aura alone forces everyone to their knees, except for Fleo. Fenris then attacks immediately, but Fleo dodges the strike, teleports the girls back to the city for safety, and finally turns back to face the demon. Then this clueless merchant, who still has no idea that he's more broken than Gojo and Saitama combined, faces his first real foe. Fleo dodges Fenris' attack with speed magic, blocks her with a stone wall, and counters with wind magic. Fenris is still fast enough to circle behind him for another strike, but Fleo uses gravity magic and pins her down. Knowing that he has to end this, his assistant keeps offering a slave spell to control her, but since Fleo hates slavery, he refuses to use it. Fenris keeps struggling, but every attempt fails under the gravity spell, and she runs out of strength and surrenders. Seeing that, Fleo releases her, and Fenris is shocked, being one of the 4 generals of the Demon Lord, feared by humans everywhere, yet this random man spares her after winning. Fleo simply says he doesn't want to fight someone who has already given up, and Fenris is surprised to hear a human say that, and she transforms back into her human form. Seeing her plots, Fleo panics, turns around and gives her his cloak to cover herself. Suddenly, she collapses, so he heals her and stays by her side until she wakes up. That confuses Fenris, seeing that a human strong enough to defeat her has no interest in ending, enslaving, or selling her. So she swears to never harm humans again and offers her life to Fleo, declaring him her master. Fleo immediately rejects that, and even with Fenris using puppy eyes, begging, and basically doing everything possible to convince him, he still says no. Only when she threatens to prick her neck with her claw does Fleo finally give in and let her follow him. After that, Fleo tells her the truth about being summoned from another world, and even shows her his real face. He doesn't want her following him, but Fenris refuses, revealing that her clan always follows the one they respect, leaving Fleo no choice but to let her stay. Meanwhile, back at the castle, the king confronts the blonde hero after losing to the demons, and the blonde hero complains to King Clyrode that the army he was given is weak and useless, claiming that's why they lost to the demon forces. The king asks one of the guards about the hero's performance, and the guard reveals the truth that Blondie was a total wuss who stood at the back of the troops during the fight. When the battle started, he was the first one to run, and when everything went wrong, he blamed everyone else for it. On the other hand, Blondie has his own problems, where his level has never increased since the day he arrived. Even though his stats look powerful, he still can't stand against the strongest demons. While he's stressing out, a maid named Suya comes to tag along with him, and the two head out so he can relieve some of that stress.
Yeah, boy.
The next day, Fleo and Fenris return to the city. Fleo wants to find a quest and rent a room, so he asks Fenris to stop calling him Master. At that exact moment, a street vendor assumes they're a couple, and Fleo thinks that's a good cover story, knowing that traveling as husband and wife would make things easier. Fenris instantly loves the idea, so at the guild, Fleo registers her under the fake name Rice. She even gets a matching necklace with Fleo's guild mark, and to her wolf tribe, that basically counts as a marriage symbol. Then, an urgent quest appears, where a group of wild psycho bears attack nearby, and the reward is increased tenfold. Nobody wants to accept it, but Fenris does, and Fleo follows along as her escort. At the site, they find the same group from before, Balarosa, Belano, Bilary, and Blossom, being attacked by the bears. Fleo saves them again with lightning magic, while Fenris crushes another bear with ease, and everyone is surprised to see Fleo saving them again. Balarosa then asks about the woman standing beside him, and Fleo introduces her as his travel companion, but that label sends Fenris' feelings straight into the abyss. She looks so disappointed that when another bear tries to attack her from behind, she simply gives it one deadly glare, and the bear instantly surrenders at her feet. But rather than killing it, Fenris decides they should keep it as a pet, shocking the knights by how casually she decides that. They discuss the bear like they're deciding whether to adopt a stray cat, and just because he can, Fleo transforms the bear into a harmless monster rabbit and names it Sieb. Later, Balarosa thanks Fleo and asks him to train her group. She explains that the blonde hero lost his troops during battle and now refuses to fight again unless stronger soldiers support him. So the king has also ordered everyone to become stronger. Fleo doesn't even know how to use most of his own magic, so he isn't sure he can teach anyone. But while he's thinking, Fenris is already glaring at the girls for getting too close to him. So Fleo uses that chance and properly introduces Fenris as his wife, saying he just wants a peaceful life. The moment she hears the word wife, Fenris instantly softens and proudly declares that, as his wife, she fully supports her husband, helping those in need. She makes sure to emphasize the wife part several times in front of the girls, and Fleo has already lost, so he accepts and lets them stay to train with him. Meanwhile, in the demon world, a scout named Uliminus reports to the demon lord that the Delavessa woods have been purified, and the hidden demon forces there are gone. But she reveals that the magic doesn't come from the Clyrode kingdom, and it comes from someone else. Hearing that, the demon lord is intrigued, knowing a man single-handedly wipes out his hidden forces, and now he wants that man, no matter what it takes. The next morning, Fleo wakes up and finds Fenris watching over him. He's startled, but Fenris just chuckles and reminds him about last night, where Fenris tried offering herself to Fleo, but that man said no, and like a true Chad, said that he wanted to take things the right way. Fenris ended up thinking mating with humans is way more complicated than she expected. Then, Fleo wanted to sleep outside instead, but Fenris warned him that Balarosa and the others are nearby, so with no better option, Fleo accepted his fate and stayed. That morning, Fenris insists on helping him change clothes and nearly takes off his shirt when Balarosa suddenly opens the door. Flustered, she runs off, but it only makes their fake marriage look more believable. Later, everyone trains in the field. Balarosa tries fighting a wild boar, but she talks too much and gets charged first. Blossom jumps in, but gets scared. Then Belano casts a shield, and Bilary fires an arrow. It all fails, and the boar ends up winning the match. Later, Fleo shows them the house he bought with the reward money from the bear quest, and says that the girls can stay there and keep training with him. At lunch, Fenris tries serving them raw wild boar meat, and she thinks that's fine because fresh meat tastes great to her. But the others are human, so Fleo and Balarosa take over and cook for the whole house. Turns out Balarosa is better at cooking than sword fighting, and she explains that coming from a broke noble family, she's used to handling the kitchen. Everyone loves the meal, but Fenris doesn't, thinking that eating vegetables is for weak creatures. Then Fleo mentions he's the one who made the salad, so out of pure pride, Fenris forces herself to try, which to her surprise tastes delicious. Then she tastes the meat Balarosa prepares, and when her palate awakens due to how delicious the cooked meat is, Fenris takes that loss personally, so when they go to the city city later to sell the boar, Fenris excuses herself, only to secretly find a cooking class. Meanwhile, Fleo gets called by the guildmaster and he explains to Fleo that the king himself offers him a position as the hero's right-hand man, and if he accepts, he'll be made a noble knight. However, Fleo refuses, saying that he has no reason to fight the demons, especially now that he just wants a quiet life with Fenris. When he leaves the guild, he finds Fenris looking completely beaten up. As hours ago, the cooking class beat her harder than any battle. She couldn't hold a tomato properly, messed up with the flour, and didn't have enough patience for the stove. But even so, she still doesn't give up. That night, Blondie learns about Fleo from Suya and agrees that recruiting Fleo would be useful, as in his mind, having another servant isn't a bad thing. A month passes, and the king keeps sending guards to persuade Fleo, but his answer never changes. Back at the house, the girls keep training. Where Blossom farms with Seeb, Bilary is still too chicken to hunt a monster duck, and Fleo makes a magic ring for Bolano to stabilize her power. Bolano tries moving the ring toward her ring finger after Fleo leaves, but Fenris sees it and gives her a glare that says that she will die if she tries stealing her hubby. Then there's Balarosa, who she screams for Fleo's help while fighting a monster, but Fenris steps in instead and scolds her for acting like a weakling to appeal to her husband. That's when she notices Uliminas hiding in the bushes. Later at lunch, everyone enjoys Fenris' dramatically improved cooking, and she proudly serves curry she learned to make in cooking class. The teacher tells her the secret ingredient is love, so naturally she makes it specifically for Fleo and he likes it. Meanwhile, Uliminas is spying on them and can't understand why someone as strong as Fenris is living like a housewife, but Fenris catches her spying and drags her inside. They serve her tea, and Uliminas explains she's scouting the area and has no idea Fenris is living there. Fenris then proudly announces that she's married to Fleo, which only confuses Uliminas even more, seeing that the once bravest woman warrior of the demon army has folded to a mere human. She then mentions the Delaveza woods, saying the forest has been cleared of all demons, and Fleo is surprised himself, never expecting his purification spell to work that thoroughly. Uliminas is shocked and immediately asks Fenris if she knows that Fleo is the one who eliminated her brother, Fangaril, along with his troops, who were hiding in those woods. Fleo is shaken hearing he caused the death of Fenris's brother, but Fenris says she already knows, claiming that she also knows her brother's pride would never want her pity for his loss. Fenris then says she has already chosen Fleo and that will never change. Just then, they catch the other girls eavesdropping on the truth of Fenris being a demon, and Balarosa apologizes while Belano straight up faints. Realizing that Fenris is now an enemy, Uliminas challenges Fleo to a spar, wanting to eliminate him and Fenris together, and Fleo accepts. During the spar, Uliminas launches attacks from above and below at the same time, but Fleo casually breaks both with one finger and traps her with a binding spell, to which she surrenders instantly. The next day, Fleo tells the girls the truth about Fenris being a demon, and he says they can report it to the king if they want, but they refuse after how Fleo and Fenris have already helped them too much. Suddenly, Uliminas returns with a dragon army and offers them a truce if they join the demon lord, while the others are frightened. Fleo is genuinely excited because he has never seen a real dragon before. Uliminas gets annoyed and orders the attack, but Fleo blasts the dragons out of the sky like he's swatting flies, and the survivors immediately run away, leaving Uliminas behind. Seeing that, Blossom asks if she can throw her mattock at one just to earn the title of Dragon Slayer, and Fleo encourages her to do it. When she does so, Fleo boosts her throw and it pierces a dragon's neck, which gives Blossom the title of a Dragon Slayer. The other girls rush over, asking for the same help, but the dragons are already too far away. Unbeknownst to them, the Demon Lord watches everything from afar with interest. The next day, Fleo puts a magic barrier around the house, and Ferris says that if Uliminas ever comes back again, she will make cat stew out of her. Then she asks why Fleo lets Uliminas go after the second attack, and in his head, Fleo feels guilty when he found out that he caused the death of Ferris's brother, but he doesn't say it out loud. Back with the girls, Blossom still can't believe she earns the title of Dragon Slayer. As for Balarosa, she wanders off alone, crying because she also wants some heroic title of her own, so her noble family can return to its nobility and be respected. Just then, a dark elf approaches her and asks if she knows his old friend who lives near the cliffs. Balarosa asks whether he means Fleo or his wife, and when the man says he's looking for Fleo's wife, Balarosa immediately points her sword at him and accuses him of being one of the Demon Lord's soldiers. The man surrenders right away and says he only comes to check on Fenris, but since Balarosa is already acting like a guard dog, he decides to leave. Before he leaves, Balarosa asks his name, and the Dark Elf says that it's Gozaru. Right after that, Fleo and Fenris rush over to check on her, and that's when they reveal the truth that the Dark Elf isn't just some random visitor, but that he's the Demon Lord himself, disguised under the name Gozaru, with his real name being Gaul. But then the next day, Gaul casually shows up at Fleo's house, and Fleo and Fenris welcome him like he's some distant uncle dropping by for tea. Balarosa comes in to ask about laundry, but she sees Gaul inside the house and nearly loses her soul. Then she's invited to sit down and drink tea with him, and she goes completely blank the moment she sits next to the Demon Lord. Fenris doesn't care about her mental state and bluntly asks Gaul if he comes for revenge, but since everyone is being direct, Gaul just asks Fleo if he wants to join the demon army. Fleo turns him down immediately, and Gaul asks why, confused seeing that Fleo rejected both him and King Clyrode. Fleo answers that he isn't from this world, so he doesn't understand what the war is even for. Hearing that, Gaul explains that 500 years ago, the first demon lord came from another world, and he sided with the demon race, who are oppressed by humans. With that, the demons accepted him, the humans rejected him, and war began. Now, 12 generations later, Gaul says he has no interest in ruling the world, but he just doesn't want demons to be oppressed by humans again, so he asks Fleo to support him. However, Fleo refuses again. And even when Gaul releases enough aura to feel like Haoshoku Haki from that pirate anime, Fleo stays completely casual. Gaul laughs and respects his persistence, so he leaves peacefully, but not because he gives up, because he simply finds someone interesting. Only then does everyone notice that Balarosa has already mentally shut down, and the next day she wakes up around noon, still exhausted from surviving Gaul's aura farming. But when she goes to the dining room, she finds Gaul casually eating mozzarella with Fleo and Fenris. Her brain short-circuits and she immediately leaves the room. For the next few days, Gaul keeps visiting, and Balarosa tries sneaking outside to avoid him. But he's always there, casually asking if they can talk, and the more she avoids him, the more interested Gaul becomes. Suddenly, one of King Clyrode's scouts sees this and reports everything to the king. The report says a strange demon keeps visiting Fleo's house and often flies back toward demon territory. King Clyrode immediately assumes Fleo sides with the Demon Lord and decides to send troops after him. Princess Elizabeth stops him, saying that there's no proof Fleo joins the demons, and if the king attacks him now, Fleo might actually choose their side out of anger, so she wants to talk to Fleo peacefully instead. Before that can happen, the blonde hero barges into the throne room and demands troops for himself, claiming that he'll make Fleo kneel. Meanwhile, at the demon castle, Gaul prepares to visit Fleo again, and Ulliminus asks how long he plans to keep doing this, worried that humans will notice. Gaul says Fleo is more reasonable than the human king, and no matter how long it takes, he'll win his support. Back at Fleo's home, he talks with Fenris about their future, and Fleo wants to start a business to support their life. Fenris says he can just accept the king's offer and get rich instantly. But Fleo says it isn't that simple. He states that because he has overwhelming power, he has to use it carefully, and Fenris admits that's exactly the part of him she likes. Right then, Beelary runs in crying, saying there are troops outside led by the useless pleb, the blonde hero. He demands that Fleo either become his right-hand man or get punished as a demon spy, but Fleo just smiles and says he isn't choosing any side. Balarosa and the girls try to defend him, but Blondie calls them traitors too and tells them to leave if they side with Fleo. Seeing this, Fleo has had enough and makes his decision, realizing that if he wants a peaceful life, he'll just move somewhere else. Fenris agrees instantly, and Balarosa and the others ask to come along too, having no intention to follow someone as worthless as the blonde hero. Then, Fleo teleports them, and the entire house and the land around it. At that exact moment, Gaul arrives, and when he realizes Fleo is leaving because of the humans, that makes him furious. He decides that if humans want war that badly, then he's ready to bring it straight to their doorstep. So he calls all his army to attack the human kingdom. Meanwhile, Fleo moves his home to a secluded forest near a small town called Haotao, west of the capital. The girls are relieved, seeing that no king's troops and no demon lord can find them there. On the other side of that peaceful life, Gaul sends his demons to attack the town near his territory. His troops reach the north gate, and the barrier protecting the city is already close to breaking. King Clyrode demands to know where Blondie is, but the guards report that he's hiding in the south tower. The high priest then tells the king to gather all high-level mages and prepare the purification spell, having no other choice. Outside the walls, Gaul already expects that move, so before the spell can begin, he calls back all his troops and retreats from human territory. Back in the castle, King Clyrode joins the other mages and leads the purification ritual himself, and once activated, the sky lights up once again. Meanwhile, Fleo has just returned home from the market, still trying to find buyers for his shield and armor business. Blossom says she wants to start selling their crops in town, and Beelary wants to open a stable to rent horses. While those two already have business plans, Balarosa and Bolano have no idea how to make money, but Fleo tells them not to worry and just focus on training. Back at the castle, all the mages who cast the purification spell collapse, including the king, but because of it, the barrier will last 3 months. With the king gone, Princess Elizabeth takes over as ruler of Clyrode, and her first order is to strip Blondie of his hero title and throw him out of the castle. Within minutes, the poopy blonde bozo gets dumped outside like trash, and the guards ignore all his pathetic threats. That night, Fleo lies in bed thinking about how different things would be if Fenris had never come into his life, realizing that he has no idea what he would have become by now without her. The next day, Balarosa and the girls give Fleo and Fenris a day off from chores, and the two are ordered to go on a date. Fenris immediately drags Fleo into town, having alone time like a normal couple would. And while walking through the market, Fleo says he wants to buy her a gift for everything she's done for him. Fenris gets so excited she practically bounces from stall to stall, and eventually they stop at a jewelry shop, and Fleo picks out a blue gemstone pin for her. That night, Fenris won't stop staring at the pin, and the girls are happy for her while also being half jealous of it. And even when everyone goes to sleep, Fenris still clings to Fleo's side like she's superglued to him. The next day, Blondie turns out to still be inside the castle, and together with Suya, he sneaks around the treasure room. He's looking for some kind of artifact or weapon that can help him defeat the Demon Lord and regain his title, and then he hears a woman's voice from behind a hidden wall. The voice tells him that if he pulls the sacred sword from the stone, she'll grant his wishes. And because his ego is bigger than his brain and Willy, he does exactly that. The moment he pulls the sword out, a genie named Heya appears, and Suya is terrified, but only Blondie can hear Heya. As the one who frees her, Heya promises to grant him 3 wishes, and the moment he hears that, a wicked smile spreads across his face. Later, Princess Elizabeth meets with the Oracle Ashura to ask what the kingdom should do next. But before they can talk, black cuffs suddenly appear around Elizabeth's neck and around the necks of everyone in the throne room. Elizabeth recognizes them instantly, and she immediately orders the guards to search the treasure room. Ashura explains that those are sacrificial collars, the price paid by anyone involved when someone makes a wish to the genie, and once the wish is fulfilled, their heads are taken as payment. Elizabeth reveals that long ago one of Clyrode's former kings used the genie to win against the Demon Lord, but half the kingdom died as the price. After that, they barely managed to seal the genie away, and now some idiot releases the genie and makes a wish, giving them time only until the genie fulfills it. Then, the princess asks Ashura to look for the answer, and Ashura says that it lies in the one they once called the right hero, which they all guess to be Fleo. This time, Elizabeth decides she'll personally go west and ask for his help. Meanwhile, back at Fleo's place, he's finally making progress in selling his dragon scale shield to a shopkeeper, and the man is amazed by its quality. He agrees to buy it and start a business deal with Fleo as long as he keeps producing items at that level. Outside the shop, Fenris and Balarosa watch him happily, and Balarosa says Fenris is lucky to have someone like Fleo and quietly wishes she could find someone like him too. But before she can say more, Fenris glares at her with the intensity of a territorial wolf. Balarosa immediately corrects herself, saying she only wants a man like Fleo, not Fleo himself, and Fenris instantly suggests that Balarosa already has a candidate in Gaul. Balarosa nearly short-circuits on the spot, knowing that the Demon Lord is interested in her. Then, the 3 of them return home, and everything is peaceful until a warning suddenly appears, saying that Heya has found Fleo, after Blondie's first wish of wanting Fleo's head. Heya attacks without warning, and Fleo's protection magic activates instantly, but Fenris moves even faster. She throws herself in front of him and takes the hit directly. A deep wound tears across her chest, and Fleo catches her before she hits the ground, but her body turns cold almost instantly. Heya doesn't stop there, and she keeps launching one explosion after another, while Fleo's barrier barely holds them back. Balarosa screams for him to use his healing magic, and he tries, but even his strongest healing spell can't bring Fenris back. And while Heya keeps attacking, Fleo just stands there, holding Fenris in his arms. In that moment, something has changed, and when Balarosa looks at his face, she freezes, seeing that for the first time, Fleo's gentleness is gone. Fleo's mind replayed every promise Fenris had made to stay by his side, as in this strange world, she was the first one who truly chose him. And now in front of him, Fenris was lying cold and covered in blood, which is something he could never forgive. Without hesitation, Fleo rewinds time to the moment before Fenris is injured, and Heya tries to hide her surprise behind that smug smile of hers, but Fleo doesn't care. He rushes in and punches her so hard she flies across the street, drawing blood from the genie. Heya tries to speak, acting like the proud genie she is, but Fleo kicks her in the gut before she can finish. Desperate, Heya casts powerful spells at him, but Fleo breaks through all of them. He then grabs her by the head and slams her into a wall. When Heya tries to check his abilities, she finally sees it, that his power is infinite. At that point, she realizes she is completely doomed. Behind them, Fenris wakes up as if nothing happened, and when she sees Fleo fighting so mercilessly for her sake, part of her is happy. But then she remembers his words of hating violence, hating war, and never wanting enemies. Yet for her, he becomes someone else entirely. When Fleo is about to snap Heya's neck, Fenris stops him, holding him back from becoming the very thing he hates, and begs him to return to the compassionate man she knows. Seeing Fenris alive and crying finally brings him back to himself. Fleo lets Heya go immediately and pulls Fenris into his arms, grateful that she's alive. At the same time, Princess Elizabeth has just arrived near Hauptau. The sacrificial necklace around her neck vanishes, along with the ones on everyone else because the wish failed. Back at the castle, Blondie and Suya are still trapped in the treasure room, surrounded by guards, but with the defeat of the genie, another figure emerges. It takes over Tsuya's body, and she introduces herself as Damalinus, the former Dark Lord. She then turns Blondie into a chimera monster as her pet to help her break out of the castle, and she makes it her goal to hunt down the royal bloodline that seals her away. Back in Hautau, Fleo still heals Heya after everything she does, and when Heya wakes up, she immediately immediately scrambles into the corner, begging for mercy. Balarosa asks what Fleo plans to do with her, and Fleo hasn't decided yet. After gaining Heiya's power, he can see fragments of her memories, and he learns that Blondie is the one who releases her from the seal inside the castle. Because of that, Fleo doesn't want her anywhere near the kingdom again, not wanting the same disaster to happen twice. But Fenris, being a wolf at heart, has her own idea. She wants to recruit Heiya into their group, knowing that it will strengthen their pack, and Fleo already understands how Fenris' mind works, so he asks if she's serious after how Heiya nearly took her life. Fenris admits she's angry, but she also admits Heiya is strong, and she likes having strong members in her pack. So Fleo offers Heiya his hand, and if she accepts, she has to promise never to take another life again. At that moment, Heiya sees something she has never known before, a human who is genuinely kind, so she accepts his mercy and promises to serve Fleo however she can. After that, they still face the wrecked town because of the battle, and Fleo wants to use the time spell again to undo all the damage, but Heiya stops him. She explains that her magic always requires a sacrifice, and also reveals the truth that because Philo's power is infinite, he can absorb any magic cast on him and make it his own. With that, Fleo finally understands how ridiculous his own power really is. So instead of rewinding time, he uses a restoration spell and repairs the entire town. Later, back at their house, the girls are stunned to see that Fleo brings home yet another strange creature, this time a literal genie. Blossom scolds him, saying a genie is not some stray cat he can just pick up and bring home, while Bilary immediately starts crying when she sees Balarosa safe. But she quickly calms down, saying that if Fleo says it's okay, then it must be okay. That night, Fleo sits alone, still thinking about the rage he feels when fighting Heiya. Balarosa finds him in the living room and asks what's wrong, and Fleo admits that he still doesn't know what to do with all the power he has. Balarosa says she understands, especially after everything she believes about good and evil has already been turned upside down, with the truth being nothing like the stories she grows up hearing. But thanks to Fleo and Fenris, she can finally see past those lies. Later in their room, Fleo finds Fenris sitting quietly, and she drags him onto the bed and asks the question she has been holding back. Now that he has Heiya's magic, he can return to his old world, so she asks if he would leave her behind. In that moment, he pulls her into a hug and tells her he will never go back, knowing how his old world is too cruel for someone like her. And for the first time, Fleo properly asks Fenris to be his wife, a real one, because after what happens, he can't stand the thought of losing her. Fenris smiles and says that ever since the day they met, she has already seen their relationship is real and she always wants to be his wife. Suddenly, right in the middle of their romantic moment, Heiya pops up, ruining the moment. Fenris nearly attacks her on the spot, while the other girls listening outside the room listen in, thinking Fleo's nighttime activity is getting crazy. A few days later, the group enjoys a huge meal thanks to Fenris, though she gives extra credit to the newest addition among the baby mamas, Heiya, who prides herself on cooking the meal without magic, even though she could have used it. Hearing that, everyone starts getting nervous because they feel useless if they do not contribute as well, and Fleo gets embarrassed whenever Heiya talks about him, as if he is a chosen hero. Later, the girls split up to handle different chores. Some work in the fields, some tame the horses, and some practice what Fleo has taught them. Meanwhile, Belano quietly thinks about her father and brother, who were both great mages, and promises herself that she will not waste all the effort Fleo puts into teaching her. Suddenly, Blossom screams outside the house, and Belano and Bilary rush over. They are shocked to see a giant magic beast destroying Blossom's crops. Nobody can stop it until Belano uses her knocking spell on the beast, calming it down instantly. Right after that, Balarosa shows up and explains that the beast came because of her. She wants to slay it because it has already hurt people before, but Bilary stops her. Instead, Bilary uses her horse-taming skills to calm the beast completely and turn it into her pet. Everyone finally relaxes, and Blossom thanks them for saving her crops. Seeing all the land around them, Bilary wonders if it can be bought, secretly planning something. Meanwhile, Fleo and Fenris walk around town looking exactly like newlyweds. The two are happy spending time together, and they keep blushing because everything still feels new to them. Fleo later visits an armorer to upgrade some gear, and Fenris cannot help but get rizzed up by how cool her husband looks. At the same time, Elizabeth rushes through town searching for Fleo, carrying terrible news. Suddenly, dark clouds cover the entire town, and a giant monster appears from the sky, sending everyone into panic. They discover that the monster is being controlled by a witch searching for Elizabeth, as if she has a personal grudge against her. Fleo and Fenris immediately head toward the monster, but Heiya suddenly appears before them after sensing waves of evil. She explains that the monster is actually a transformed human, and the witch controlling it is the Grand Magus of Midnight, Damilinus, a witch who exposed herself to black magic and became one of the strongest witches alive. Long ago, Damilinus ruled over the magical kingdom of Clyrode as the strongest witch alive, but a hero defeated and sealed her inside the pedestal connected to the sword Heiya was trapped in. When Heya was released, Damalinas was revived. Heya admits that it is partially her fault because using the sword's power released her. Out of responsibility, she asks Fleo for permission to defeat the witch. Fleo allows Heya to eliminate Damalinas, but only after the civilians are safely evacuated. With that, he and Fenris quickly move through town, rescuing people and getting them to safety. Meanwhile, Damalinas corners Elizabeth and easily wipes out most of her guards, leaving her with only one guard who looks so scared he might drop a log the size of his forearm. Damalinas prepares to turn them both into jelly, but right before she attacks, a magical shield suddenly appears around them. Once the shield fades away, Damalinas is shocked to see Heya standing there protecting Elizabeth. Damalinas orders Heya to move aside, but Heya refuses because Fleo ordered her to protect the town. Furious, Damalinas attacks with everything she has, but none of her spells can scratch Heya or Elizabeth. It becomes obvious that Heya is far stronger than her. Realizing this, Damalinas powers up the monster even further, making it grow into a massive giant that terrifies the entire kingdom. The monster becomes so huge that everyone feels like they are watching Attack on Titan in real life.
This is my favorite one so far. Nice job, team.
And Elizabeth fears for the fate of the city. However, it suddenly shrinks back down. It turns out that Fleo casts a spell that instantly reduces the giant monster into a tiny figurine. Damalinas is completely stunned because she never imagined a human could do something like that. With the monster gone, Heya immediately casts another spell on Damalinas and turns her into a pill. She casually swallows it, forcing Damalinas to live inside her forever. After defeating her, Heya releases two people trapped inside the monster, Tsuya and the blonde hero. Once everything calms down, Princess Elizabeth formally introduces herself to Fleo after finally meeting him and apologizes for dragging him into the situation. She explains that the blonde hero has been kicked out and that the reason they came was to find Fleo. Now that she has found him, Elizabeth asks Fleo to come to the castle so the kingdom can recognize him as the hero who saved the town. However, Fleo politely refuses. He says he is not interested in fame or titles because all he wants is a peaceful life with his wife, Fenris. Later, Fleo and Fenris return home and are welcomed back by everyone. The group tells Fleo that they want to expand the farm because it could become a profitable business, with Beelery and Blossom especially wanting a larger field so they can raise more magic horse beasts and grow more vegetables. Fleo loves seeing everyone so motivated, so he shows them the price of buying a bigger field. The cost completely shocks them, and they instantly think their dream is impossible. Fleo says he is willing to pay for it himself as long as they do it properly. However, the girls want to be fair to him, so he asks for only 30% of their profits, and they agree. The next day, they all start working on the land, and Fleo quickly comes up with a plan to plant crops that are difficult to obtain in the area using his magic. Blossom likes the idea but feels uncomfortable relying entirely on magic. Then Heya volunteers to use her magic instead of Fleo's, and Blossom still feels unsure about using magic for farming, deeming it immoral. Meanwhile, Belano gets excited and wants to see Heya's magic in action. When they ask her why, she reveals that she has decided to become a teacher at Haotao College of Magic. She thanks Fleo for teaching her so many useful spells because he helped her realize that magic can improve everyday life instead of only being used for battle. After hearing Belano support the idea so passionately, Fleo plays the middleman and suggests that they let Heya use magic on only one section of the farm. Blossom agrees. In the end, everyone is happy, and Fleo is glad to see that everyone has found something they want to do with their lives. He then expresses how he wants to open his own shop in town someday, and Fenris immediately supports his dream. She says that she will invite all of her demon friends to support the shop because she wants to do everything she can for her husband. Fleo is deeply moved by her words. He then reveals that he made her a gift in the form of a wedding ring. He gently places it on her finger as they exchange vows, making the two of them even happier as newlyweds. Somewhere else, Balarosa suddenly wakes up inside a church while wearing a black wedding dress. Right in front of her, a dark army warrior named Uliminas bows respectfully like she were their new queen. Then, she notices a man slowly walking toward her, and it turns out to be the Dark One himself, Gol. After talking with him for a bit, Balarosa realizes the church is actually prepared for their wedding. Gol already arranged everything, including hundreds of Dark Army soldiers bowing before her, completely stunning her. Just as Gol is about to make his vows and kiss her, Balarosa suddenly opens her eyes and realizes it was only a dream. She instantly blushes, realizing she might actually be falling for Gol. Later, Balarosa and Fenris spend time baking cupcakes for everyone at home. While they work, Fenris notices Balarosa acting strangely, almost like she is hiding feelings for someone. Balarosa admits that she has been having weird dreams lately, and Fenris immediately figures out that she is in love, making Balarosa panic. Fenris keeps cornering her for answers until someone casually guesses that the person is Gol, which makes Balarosa blush even harder. Then Blossom brings up how Gol used to visit their house all the time just to see Balarosa, although Balarosa keeps convincing herself he only came because of Fleo. The topic embarrasses her even more, but Fenris actually sees it as something positive. If Balarosa really marries Gol, then just like Fleo and Fenris, they could break the barrier between humans and demons too. After hearing all this romance talk, Fenris starts sharing the story of how she fell in love with Fleo. She explains that part of the reason she loves him so much is because of how innocent and naive he is. She also talks about how kind and genuine he always is, even if he can be clueless sometimes. Suddenly, Fleo walks in and accidentally hears everything Fenris says about him, making her instantly shy. Right after that, Fleo's alarm spell suddenly activates, warning everyone that demons are approaching the barrier. Hiya senses them too, making the whole group worry about the town's safety. Fleo immediately tells everyone to get ready and protect the area. Meanwhile, Elizabeth attends a meeting with the council about the road gold coins Fleo gave her to help rebuild the town. The coins remind her of the mysterious man named Banaza, because apparently he was the only person known to possess those coins before. The council starts worrying that Banaza and Fleo might actually be the same person. Realizing this, Elizabeth feels terrible because they accidentally banished him in the past, and now she desperately wants to apologize. Suddenly, a guard rushes into the meeting and reveals that the golden-haired hero and his friend escaped from prison. Hearing this, Elizabeth quickly sends soldiers after them and gets frustrated with herself for ever trusting the so-called hero in the first place. Out in the forest, the golden-haired hero and his friend hide from the guards while celebrating their escape. The hero is especially happy because he stole some gold on the way out, believing it is only fair since he is supposed to be a hero anyway. While checking their loot, he discovers a treasure chest containing a legendary shovel. At first, the shovel does not seem important, but the moment nearby guards hear them talking, the two panic and quickly dig a hole using the shovel to hide underground. The guards arrive moments later but find nobody there, completely unaware that the two idiots are hiding inside a freshly dug hole while wondering how they are supposed to climb back out. Somewhere else, Gol grows furious because his forces still cannot locate Fleo. Uliminus nervously worries that Gol is forgetting the Dark Army's original goal. She wants revenge on everyone who ever looked down on them, but Gol is more concerned about Fleo interfering. He reveals that Fleo possesses purification powers, making him practically unbeatable against the Dark Army. Because of that, Gol's real mission is not to destroy Fleo and his friends, but to recruit them instead, especially because he wants to see Balarosa again. Unbeknownst to them, a girl with glasses overhears the entire conversation and quickly reports everything to Gol's brother, Uigard. Uigard becomes furious after learning that Gol has gone soft and is trying to recruit humans instead of wiping them out. With that, Uigard decides he will take the throne for himself. A few days later, Fleo and Fenris walk through town shopping for groceries. During their trip, they discover that Holdy is shutting down her shop because she no longer has suppliers. Fleo and Fenris feel bad for her, but they still notice that the town itself is slowly improving, with many new stores opening up everywhere. Later, Fleo and Fenris decide to grab lunch together, but Balarosa suddenly stops them and offers to treat them instead. Fleo happily accepts, but just as they are about to head to the restaurant, Heya suddenly appears with an urgent warning. A dangerous demon is approaching town and causing chaos. Heya instantly creates a magical shield around Fleo, but then Fleo notices someone calmly walking toward them. To everyone's surprise, it is Gol himself. Instead of panicking, Fleo gets happy to see him again. During the meal, Gol keeps teasing Balarosa, making her incredibly nervous. Eventually, Balarosa completely loses it after realizing Gol only became friendly with Fleo because he wants to recruit him into the Dark Army. She starts yelling at him so passionately that they almost sound like a married couple arguing. Gol stays completely calm and tells them that humans are not really different from demons. Heya explains that humans cannot properly control Melicium, which actually makes them even more dangerous. After that awkward conversation, Gol decides to leave since the mood is completely ruined, leaving everyone emotionally exhausted. While walking home afterward, Fleo quietly realizes that humans and demons were probably never meant to live together peacefully. The thought scares him because he worries that someday he could lose Fenris because of those differences. Overcome with emotion, Fleo suddenly hugs Fenris tightly from behind, showing just how much he truly loves her. The next morning, Fenris prepares another amazing meal for the family. This time, she makes hamburgers using a recipe her cooking teacher taught her. Fenris talks about how kind her teacher was and explains that she shared the recipe after hearing how Fenris got married. According to her teacher, it is the perfect meal for families and children, like telling Fleo that she is ready for kids. While everyone eats, someone suddenly arrives outside the house. Fleo goes to check and is shocked to see Elizabeth standing there. Elizabeth explains that she came to apologize for everything that happened back when Fleo was known as Beneza, instantly making the mood serious. The family serves Elizabeth tea while she asks to speak privately with Fleo alone. However, Fleo refuses to leave Fenris out of the conversation and insists she stay too. Elizabeth understands and begins apologizing for how badly the kingdom treated him in the past. Then she reveals a magical map showing the locations of the Clyrode army, something that is apparently top secret. Elizabeth explains that the purification around the kingdom is slowly fading away, meaning the Dark Army will soon begin invading. She says she does not need Fleo to join the military. She only wants him to protect the town because countless lives are at stake. Hearing this makes Fenris upset because she realizes Elizabeth is relying on Fleo too much. Elizabeth admits that she is using Fleo's strength to help take the throne away from the current king, but she believes it is necessary because the king is selfish and does not care about his people at all. In the end, she tells Fleo that she fully trusts him and hopes he will accept her request. Elsewhere, adventurers continue searching for the wanted blonde-haired hero and his companion, Tsuya. Ironically, the pair are hiding in plain sight the entire time, somehow making their terrible hiding strategy actually work. The blonde hero and Tsuya finally manage to crawl out of the giant hole they dug earlier after getting trapped underground. The hero gives Tsuya some bread because she is starving, and her grateful reaction ends up making him blush a little. But just as they prepare to leave, Tsuya suddenly screams at the top of her lungs. A second later, the hero starts screaming too because both of them get caught in a giant spider web created by Fufun, who is apparently searching for new recruits. Later that night, Fleo struggles to sleep, so Fenris quietly visits his room to comfort him. She asks him what he truly thinks about Elizabeth's request, and Fleo admits that he hates fighting more than anything. His real dream is to create a world where human children and demon children can live together peacefully without war. Hearing that, Fenris hugs him tightly and tells him to choose whatever path feels right because she promises she will always stand beside him no matter what happens. The next day, chaos breaks out across town when demons suddenly invade the area. A little girl picking fruit notices a group of demons rushing toward her, but Fleo and Fenris arrive just in time and protect her with a magical barrier. Fenris is still upset that Fleo accepted Elizabeth's request, but Fleo believes there is no other way to build a better future. While they talk inside the barrier, the demons outside become furious because the couple looks completely calm in front of them. Fleo casually tells the demons that he could wipe them out with a snap of his fingers like Thanos.
How?
But what he really wants is for them to peacefully return home instead. The demons laugh at him for being just a human, and Fenris instantly gets angry. Suddenly, a giant Cyclops appears and targets Fenris specifically because he sees her as a traitor to demonkind. The moment Fenris sees him, she remembers how he once harmed her family. Furious, she decides to show everyone that neither she nor Fleo can be pushed around. Fleo gives her permission to fight, and Fenris immediately charges out of the barrier to battle the Cyclops herself. She tears into him with powerful bites while warning him that she is still holding back. The Cyclops only laughs and demands more, so Fenris unleashes several powerful spells that slam him into the ground and leave him completely helpless. The other demons instantly panic after seeing how strong she really is. Fenris finally gets her revenge against the Cyclops and proves that she is far stronger than any of them expected. Still, the remaining demons refuse to back down and rush toward her all at once. Before they can even touch Fenris, Fleo casually stops them with magic and restrains them using glowing magical strings. He even heals the Cyclops afterward, giving them all one final chance to retreat peacefully. Terrified, the demons immediately accept. Fleo teleports them away from town. Right after the battle, several townspeople rush over to thank Fleo and Fenris for saving everyone. Fleo humbly tells them they should really thank the princess instead, and he even comforts the little girl who almost got hurt earlier, reminding everyone what a true hero actually looks like. Meanwhile, Elizabeth receives reports that a mysterious adventurer protected the town from the demons. She instantly realizes the adventurer is Fleo and becomes determined to repay him somehow for everything he has done. Elsewhere, Gol discovers that Uygard has been making moves behind his back and may have already stolen the throne. Gol quickly heads out to confront him, unaware that Uygard is preparing a ritual for the evil god by offering up the blonde-haired hero and Tsuya as sacrifices. With this offering, Uygard believes he will finally gain enough power to crush Gol once and for all. A few days later, Gol and Uliminus head to Fleo's house to ask for a favor. Gol wants to stay there for a while, which instantly makes Fenris laugh. Gol then explains the situation and asks Fleo to listen carefully. A few days earlier, Ugardi challenged him to a duel for the throne. Uliminus cannot believe the Infernal Four are doing nothing about it, so she begs them to support Gol because she believes he is a great leader. But the Infernal Four think Gol has gone soft, and they want him to prove he is still worthy of ruling the Dark Army. When Gol and Uliminus enter the throne room, they are greeted by Fufun and Uygard. Uliminus gets furious after seeing Uygard already sitting on the throne like it belongs to him. She immediately attacks with powerful strikes, but none of them even scratch him, showing just how overwhelming he is. Uliminus gets knocked down, but before falling, she launches one final attack. Sadly, Fufun blocks it and protects Uygard. Just when Uliminus is about to be finished off, Gol finally appears and orders Grendel to take her away at once. Uygard gets excited that Gol finally shows himself, almost like this whole thing was a trap to lure him out. Gol realizes Uygard and the others are angry because they think he has not been taking his role seriously enough. After seeing everyone side with Uygard, Gol powers up and gets ready to fight, making Uygard even more excited. But right before the battle starts, Gol suddenly calms down and casually hands over the Dark Ring, the symbol of the throne. He admits he no longer feels needed in the Dark Army and gives up the throne without hesitation. Uygard becomes furious at how casually Gol throws everything away. Gol then kicks him straight out of the throne room with a brutal flying kick before leaving the castle behind for good. Because of that, the golden-haired hero and Tsuya finally get a chance to escape from the Dark Army. After hearing the whole story, Fleo gladly agrees to let Gol and Uliminus stay at the house. though he still wants to discuss it with everyone else first. Right then, Balarosa walks in and is shocked to see Gol there. Fleo explains the situation, which somehow makes her blush. Soon, everyone gathers to hear Gol out. He explains that he has stepped down as the Dark One and simply wants a place to live in peace. Gol promises he will not bring danger to the house and says Fleo is the only human he truly trusts. He even wants to learn from him and live a normal life, maybe helping protect the town and doing honest work. Hearing that, Fleo accepts him without hesitation, and the others welcome him too. The only one still unsure is Balarosa. She does not want Gol living under the same roof as them, but Fenris starts acting cute to pressure her into agreeing. In the end, Balarosa gives in and accepts Gol into the family, meaning the strongest demon now lives in Fleo's house. Later, Gol walks around his new home and tries helping with chores, but everyone tells him to relax because he usually just causes more problems. Feeling a little down, he heads to the armor room and checks out the gear Fleo has made. Gol is genuinely impressed by the quality of the equipment, and the two end up laughing together like old friends. Watching this from the side, Ulimina starts to worry. She notices Gol looks far happier living among humans than he ever did as the Dark One, making her wonder if he really has gone soft. That night, everyone enjoys dinner together while laughing and having fun, except for Balarosa. She quietly stays away from the table, clearly lost in thought. Later, when everyone else is asleep, she sits outside alone and watches the stars in silence. Suddenly, Fleo and Fenris approach her and ask why she is still awake. They both notice she has been acting strange ever since Gol arrived. Balarosa finally admits the truth. She hates demons, especially Gol, because his actions caused suffering for countless people. She says she cannot feel comfortable living with someone she despises, but she stays because of Fleo. Hearing this, Fleo and Fenris gently explain that life has given them many chances and blessings, and people should be accepted for who they are. They tell her Gol is neither completely good nor completely evil. Fleo even admits Gol could secretly be gathering information on him, but he honestly does not care because he has nothing to hide in a loving home like theirs. He asks Balarosa to stay and at least give Gol a chance, reminding her that she is one of the reasons their family has become so happy. Hearing that finally makes her smile. The next morning, Balarosa confronts Gol and Uliminas directly. She warns them that she will always keep an eye on them, because she still believes they might be planning something. Instead of getting angry, they both laugh. Gol then walks up to her and offers a handshake, saying he looks forward to getting along with her. He likes her strong attitude and believes someone like her will be important for their future. Even so, Balarosa refuses to shake his hand because she still does not fully trust him yet. Gol simply lowers his hand and smiles warmly at her, which quietly encourages her little by little. By the end of the day, Balarosa heads out for another hunt. Elsewhere, the golden-haired hero and Tsuya finally escape from the Dark Army. After running for hours through demon territory, they desperately search for a way out. The golden-haired hero becomes excited about the future after stealing valuable jewelry from the throne room. He plans to sell it all and live a peaceful and happy life together with Tsuya. Days after Gol steps down from the throne, Uigard is already stressed out from being the new Dark One. The Dark Army keeps losing battles because the humans are setting traps everywhere. Furious over the situation, Uigard punches Fufun straight off the roof for failing to properly analyze the war. Seeing their constant losses, the Infernal Four begin doubting Uigard's leadership. They miss the careful strategies Gol used to make and the intelligence network Uliminas managed. For the first time, they start worrying that the Dark Army might actually lose the war. Still, Fufun comes up with a plan to raise morale, a relaxing group trip to the hot springs. Elsewhere, Fleo and Fenris learn they have won a grand prize vacation to a famous hot spring resort. Fenris gets excited because she thinks it will basically be a honeymoon with Fleo. Sadly, her excitement immediately dies when she realizes the whole family is invited too, ruining her romantic fantasy. In the end, Gol and the others join the trip and get excited about it. Since it is the demon's first real vacation, they are completely confused about what they are supposed to wear and how hot spring trips even work. Fenris then learns there are 7 different springs at the resort, each with its own special effect. One of them is said to boost fertility, instantly making her imagine having babies with Fleo. Soon, the group arrives at the inn and gets warmly welcomed by the owner. Everyone receives their own yukata, but Fenris barely pays attention and immediately asks where the fertility spring is located. After learning it is called the Yanagi spring, she gets even more excited. While everyone changes clothes, Blossom accidentally bumps into a familiar person in the hallway. She cannot recognize them, but it is actually Fufun and Yusgarda disguised in human form. Fufun explains that the hot spring trip is meant to improve the Dark Army's morale. Uigard, however, cannot stand getting bumped into by a human and almost loses his temper on the spot. Thankfully, Fufun calms him down and reminds him they are supposed to relax during this trip. The others quickly agree before things get ugly. After Uigardi leaves, Gol, Uliminas, and Fenris realize their enemies are staying under the same roof as them. Uliminas warns that things could turn bad if they run into each other. Fenris immediately threatens Gol not to start any trouble because she refuses to let anyone ruin her vacation with Fleo. Eventually, the family gets shown to their rooms. Fleo and Fenris get their own private room, while Gol ends up staying with the girls, which instantly worries everyone. At the same time, each person secretly secretly has their own plans for the trip. Valorosa especially seems to have something in mind involving Gol, though she refuses to tell anyone. Meanwhile, Heiya becomes curious about romance after seeing Fleo and Fenris acting close before. Wanting to understand relationships better, she visits her psychic world where Damelinus is trapped. Heiya casually admits she once saw Fleo and Fenris together and has been curious ever since. Damelinus immediately gets nervous after realizing Heiya is acting strangely excited. Heiya even reveals that as a djinn, she can change forms however she wants, completely terrifying Damelinus. Panicking, Damelinus kicks Heiya out of the psychic world entirely. Heiya is left confused and frustrated because she still does not understand relationships at all. Later, Fenris drags Fleo straight to the Yanagi Spring because she cannot wait to spend time with him. She keeps teasing him about having children together, making Fleo completely embarrassed. The two then relax in the hot spring while talking from opposite sides. During their conversation, Fleo admits they still have not had a proper honeymoon yet. Fenris sadly reveals she thought this trip would finally be that special moment for them. Wanting to make her happy, Fleo promises they will go on a real honeymoon someday. Fenris gets incredibly excited and once again starts talking about babies, sending Fleo into full panic mode. Elsewhere, Bilary visits another hot spring hoping to find companionship because she feels lonely. Just as she is about to enter, Heiya suddenly appears because she is still researching romance herself. Bilary gets embarrassed immediately, but Heiya acts completely normal about it. Before the mood can get awkward, Heiya drags Bilary into the hot spring with her. Later on, Blossom, Valorosa, and the others head outside the inn to buy snacks. During the trip, Blossom notices Valorosa keeps staring at Gol when she thinks nobody is looking. Realizing what is happening, Blossom starts teasing her and loudly calls Gol over on purpose. Gol casually compliments Valorosa's outfit, instantly making her blush. At the same time, the Dark Army officials relax in their room while eating human food. Ugard stuffs himself with food while loudly complaining about how disgusting it tastes. Trying to lighten the mood, Fufun starts a small party, and soon everyone is dancing, drinking, and playing games like regular humans. For once, the Dark Army actually seems happy. Unfortunately, one of them accidentally drops a demon gem during the fun, creating a huge problem. Meanwhile, the golden-haired hero and Suya are also staying at the hot spring resort. They plan to sell a rare demon gem they stole and live peacefully afterward. But the moment the hero pulls the gem out, it suddenly starts vibrating and absorbing demonic energy from the area. The hero suddenly collapses in pain, while Suya desperately tries to comfort him. Then his body begins transforming into a giant monster right in front of everyone. Back at the inn, Valorosa confronts Uliminis, who is already drunk. Valorosa teases her by saying she clearly has feelings for Gol because of how childish she acts around him. Uliminis instantly gets furious and denies everything. Suddenly, a giant demon monster bursts through the area and starts destroying the inn like a rampaging beast. Everyone panics as debris flies everywhere, but Fleo quickly creates a massive barrier to protect the guests from getting hurt. Valorosa and the others quickly realize demons are also staying at the inn. Uliminis then reveals Uigard and the Dark Army officials are there too, making it obvious who caused the disaster. Valorosa immediately tries to help Fleo fight the monster, but Uliminis stops her and says she would never survive against something that powerful. Still, Valorosa, Blossom, and Bolano explain that Fleo is always forced to clean up problems caused by both humans and demons. Feeling sorry for him, they decide they want to help however they can. Hearing that makes Gol smile proudly. Afterward, Gol decides to join the fight as well because he is furious that Uigard ruined their vacation. Before acting, he asks Uliminis for her opinion, which shocks her so much that she blushes instantly. Gol then teleports everyone to the roof, where Fenris is already waiting, and they immediately spot the giant monster causing chaos. At the same time, the Dark Army officials notice Gol standing there and become excited to see him again. Everyone except Uigard. He plans to use the monster as the perfect setup for his long-awaited battle against Gol. While Uigard and Gol continue their intense battle, Valorosa rushes to tell Fleo what is happening. Fleo learns that Uigard is the one who summoned the monster, but he also believes Gol is not fighting on Ugard's side, which leaves Valorosa worried about what could happen next. Meanwhile, Uigard throws everything he has at Gol during their fight. Uigard fights with full rage and power, while Gol stays calm and barely even takes the battle seriously. Gol keeps defending himself with ease, completely controlling the pace of the fight. Since Uigard is fully focused on Gol, Fenris gets the chance to save the golden-haired hero and Suya from the monster. Without hesitation, she punches the golden-haired hero so hard that it instantly shuts the monster down and stops its rampage. Now left alone, Uigard realizes he has to defeat Gol himself. Desperate, he powers up and unleashes his demon form. Even then, none of his attacks can truly hurt Gol, who is still far stronger than him. Eventually, Gol gets tired of the fight and decides to end it by using a secret spell researched by humans, a spell that removes all of a person's militium. The spell instantly shuts Uigard down and returns him to normal. Uigard is completely stunned after realizing he has become almost like a regular human now that his militium is gone. Suddenly, the innkeeper appears and reveals the terrifying power of her own. She activates an emergency spell that instantly binds the Dark Army members like sacrifices before teleporting them far away to an unknown location. In that moment, she proves she might actually be the strongest strongest person there. Thankfully, everyone survives the disaster, including the golden-haired hero and Suya. Just to make sure things are completely safe, Fenris slaps the golden-haired hero at lightning speed one more time to remove any remaining malicium from his body. In almost no time at all, Fleo restores the entire building to normal, amazing everyone around him. Soon, the guests and workers all start helping each other return the inn to peace again. As thanks for saving everyone, the innkeeper gives Fleo and his family unlimited access to the hot springs. Fenris finally relaxes after hearing that, because now she can actually enjoy her vacation properly. Later that night, the girls gather together at the Yanagi Spring. Balarosa and Uliminas surprisingly begin getting along despite their differences. At the same time, Heiya still keeps Damalinas on top of her head, while teasing her nonstop for being embarrassed about having two genders. Meanwhile, Blossom and Bolano ask Bilary how her day went, only for Heiya to suddenly reveal that she and Bilary spent intimate time together earlier. The entire hot spring instantly goes silent in shock. On the men's side, Fleo and Gol quietly relax while listening to the girls laughing in the distance. Fleo smiles after seeing everyone finally getting along and says he is looking forward to their future together. Gol then admits he never expected to enjoy a peaceful hot spring trip with someone like Fleo. He reveals he has been interested in Fleo ever since they first met, because Fleo genuinely wants balance between humans and demons. That goal alone amazes him. Fleo admits that it is exactly what he wants to. He says he is grateful for all the friends he has made along the way, but he still hopes to build an even better future. Hearing those words, Gol stands up and offers Fleo a handshake, promising to support him as a true friend from now on. Fleo smiles, stands up as well, and shakes his hand. Afterward, the entire family enjoys dinner together while laughing and having fun. During the meal, Balarosa quietly thanks Gol for everything, making both of them blush from embarrassment. At the same time, the innkeeper gives Fenris a special pastry said to boost fertility even more, making her way too excited. Soon, everyone spends the rest of the night drinking, eating, and dancing together before finally heading to bed. Much later that night, Fenris finds Fleo outside watching the stars alone. With everyone asleep, the two finally get a quiet moment together. Fleo gently asks Fenris how she truly feels about humans now. At first, Fenris feels confused by the question, but after thinking about Fleo and even Balarosa, she admits she has grown fond of humans. She still believes demons are naturally stronger, but she no longer wants humans to suffer either. Hearing that makes Fleo smile warmly. Fleo admits he cannot fully choose one side over the other, but he still wants to protect towns and reduce as many casualties as possible. To do that, he says he wants Fenris by his side because she is the person who helps him understand both humans and demons equally. Fenris becomes deeply moved after hearing that, and happily tells him she is glad he chose her first. The emotional moment quickly turns romantic as Fenris hugs him tightly. Fleo gently lays her down and gives her a deep and loving kiss under the night sky. The next morning, the family prepares to head home. The girls quickly notice Fenris seems way happier and more energetic than before. Then Heiya casually blurts out that the two definitely spent the night together, instantly making everyone embarrassed. Still, the trip eventually comes to an end. Fleo teleports everyone back home so they can return to their normal lives. A few days later, everyone settles back into their routines. Bolano starts working as a teacher, while Gol and Uliminas help Fleo create weapons and equipment. Later, Balarosa returns home from another hunt, and Gol immediately welcomes her back warmly, making Uliminas visibly jealous. Balarosa then reveals that the princess's inauguration ceremony is approaching, causing everyone to worry that the Dark Army might attack again. Gol tells them not to panic because Uigard will probably need time to recover before making another move, giving both the princess and Fleo a chance to enjoy some peace. Meanwhile, Elizabeth officially becomes the new queen of the kingdom of Clyrode. However, she becomes furious after learning her father escaped instead of facing punishment. Because of that, she declares him a wanted criminal, so he can finally answer for his actions. Elsewhere, the golden-haired hero and Suya are still wanted fugitives. Guards and adventurers continue searching everywhere for them. Later that evening, the family gathers for dinner after Fenris prepares another huge feast. But before she heads inside, Fleo stops her to share something important. Fleo reveals his dream of opening a shop where everyone in the family can sell the things they create together. Now that he has close friends, a peaceful home, and a dream for the future, Fleo finally feels like his life has become something worth looking forward to. Comment down below, or a farmer if you watched till the end. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video.